She was wearing my hoodie when she left the house that night. Not one of those old ones she used for cleaning or grocery runs. No, the soft navy one she always said made her feel safe. The one she pulled from my drawer the night her mom died. The one that still smelled like me even after a wash. She wore it to his place. I know because I followed her. Not proud of that. But proud went out the window somewhere between the third late night at the office and the lipstick-stained coffee mug she swore was just a reflection. There's something surreal about watching someone you love climb into a stranger's car while wearing your clothes. It's like watching your own reflection walk away from you. She didn't see me. Or maybe she did and didn't care. I stayed in my car across the street, gripping the steering wheel like it was the only thing tethering me to earth. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't even blink, I think. I just watched her disappear into the blur of tail lights and betrayal. The irony? That morning, she made me French toast. She kissed my cheek, called me her constant, and hummed while packing a tote bag. She said she was going to see her cousin in Hillsborough. Hillsborough doesn't exist. At least, not the way she said it did. I checked. Twice. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I beat her at her own game. While she was planning her date, I was printing screenshots, bank statements, calendar invites. That one photo from the reflection of a hotel room mirror, where you could just barely make out the initials embroidered on a pillowcase. I even found his name. It wasn't John, or Mike, or anything predictable. It was Clay. Who names their affair partner Clay? Anyway, I didn't wait for her to come home. I waited until 5:07 a.m., the exact time she usually returned from her morning runs. I left the door unlocked, placed a thermos of coffee next to the note, and folded her hoodie on the couch like a funeral suit. To the woman who wore my love like a jacket she could take off any time. I followed the breadcrumbs you thought you swept away. I hope Clay makes better French toast. Don't call. I won't answer. Then I walked out the back door and into the kind of silence that only comes after truth detonates. What she didn't know was that I didn't just leave. I vanished strategically, and I took something with me that she'd never get back. She came home to silence. But it wasn't just any silence. It was a silence I had carefully, painfully scripted. I had thought about everything. The note, the coffee, the folded hoodie. Even the fact that the bedroom door was cracked open just enough to make her wonder if I was still inside. That was on purpose. I wanted her to feel it. The not knowing. The split-second panic when you think you might have gotten away with something, but something doesn't feel right. She texted me at 5:10 a.m. Hey, you home? I watched the message pop up on the burner phone I had synced to her cloud account. That was the first thing I did when I suspected something. Got into her ecosystem. She never realized her trusted devices included me. A minute later. Can we talk? No, Cassidy. We can't. But she didn't stop there. She called my phone 6 times. I didn't answer. I was already halfway to a cabin in northern Michigan, a place so deep in the woods that Wi-Fi gasps for air. I needed distance, not just from her, but from myself. But here's where things started to twist in ways even I didn't expect. At 5:48 a.m., she texted someone named Jenna. He's gone. I think he knows. And Jenna, whoever the hell she was, replied with something that made my stomach coil. Did you delete the photos? Photos? This wasn't just a fling. This was a plan. I sat in the cabin, my laptop glowing in the dark like a warning flare, clicking through every backup, every shared file folder, every hidden album she thought I'd never find. And there they were, images of hotel keycards, mirror selfies, blurred shots of Clay's arm around her waist. But that wasn't the worst of it. There were photos of me, taken when I wasn't looking. One of me asleep. Another of me outside washing the car. One at the grocery store, looking tired, worn out, oblivious. What was she doing? Keeping a record of the man she was betraying while she lived her double life? Or worse, sharing those photos with him? I didn't want to know, but I needed to. So I dug deeper. And that's when I found the hidden folder inside her Notes app, buried under recipes and yoga routines. It was called Exit Plan, and my name was in it. Multiple times. That's where everything snapped into something uglier. This wasn't just a love affair. This was something colder, more calculated. Cassidy wasn't trying to leave me. She was trying to erase me. And whatever she had planned, whatever that folder meant, I had interrupted it by leaving first. Now, I wasn't just heartbroken. I was in danger. The word exit sat in my head like a loaded gun. Who even names a folder that? Exit Plan. Like I was a building she needed to escape from, a structure too unstable to live inside. And yet, there I was, photographed, documented, logged like I was evidence in a case I didn't know I was part of. The folder had no password. I think part of her wanted me to find it. Or maybe she thought I never would. Either way, what I found inside didn't feel like the ramblings of someone in love. It felt like strategy. It read like bullet points. Sell car before March. Don't tell him about the 401k account. Clay can't meet Vernon until the paperwork is filed. Keep house until appraisal is done. Talk to Jenna about timeline. There it was again. Jenna. I had never met her. Never even heard the name until this mess started unraveling. I figured she was one of Cassidy's book club friends, or maybe a coworker she only saw at conferences. But from the tone of those messages, Jenna wasn't just a friend. She was in on it. Whatever it was. That night in the cabin, I didn't sleep. I just kept scrolling, reading, rereading. Every sentence peeled back another layer of who she really was. And with every discovery, I started losing track of what hurt more, the betrayal, or the realization that I never really knew her at all. Around 3:17 a.m., I did something I promised myself I wouldn't do. I logged into our joint security account, the one linked to our home cameras. She didn't know I still had access. I hadn't touched it since we installed everything a year ago, after someone broke into a neighbor's garage. And there she was, Cassidy, in our living room, pacing, still wearing my hoodie. She wasn't crying. She wasn't panicked. She was angry, talking to someone on speakerphone, though I couldn't hear who. Her hands kept motioning wildly. Then she stopped, looked straight into the camera, and said, clear as day, "He thinks he's smarter than me. Let him play detective. I already cleaned it up." Clean what up? I don't know if you've ever felt your spine turn to ice while your body stays burning hot, but that's what it felt like. Like I was watching a version of her I didn't recognize. Not just dishonest, dangerous. I started running through scenarios in my head. What if she knew I'd find the folder? What if this was part of it? Was I supposed to panic? Run? Did she expect me to come back, confront her, lose control? I had no idea anymore what game I was playing. But I knew I wasn't safe just sitting in that cabin. So I drove. I left at 4:11 a.m. without even packing my bag. Just took my laptop, my notes, my fear, and drove back into the mess I thought I was escaping. I wasn't going home. Not yet. But I was getting close enough to see what else she was hiding. Because if Cassidy wanted an exit plan, she was about to find out. I had one too. The thing about paranoia is that once it starts, you can't just shut it off. You start to notice everything. License plates that look familiar, shadows that linger too long, people in your periphery who seem like they know more than they should. That's what it was like driving back toward the city. Every car behind me felt like it was following. Every text notification made my heart jolt. And every mile I put between myself and the cabin was a mile deeper into something I couldn't define anymore. This wasn't about heartbreak. It had stopped being about love 3 days ago. This was something colder. Something with rules I hadn't agreed to. By the time I reached the outskirts of town, I had already made up my mind. I wasn't going back to the house. Not yet. I had to find Jenna. I needed to know who she was to Cassidy, how deep this went, how long it had been going on, and why my name was written like a liability in a plan I was never meant to see. The only clue I had was a shared Google Calendar Cassidy had forgotten to disconnect from our old tablet. Months ago, I thought it was cute. She used emojis to label her events. Hearts for workouts, stars for dinner dates, flowers for brunch with friends. But buried between the fluff was a single recurring event. No emoji, just a street name. Morgan Hill. Every second Wednesday. Same time. Noon. I drove to the address. It was a tan duplex with a crooked mailbox and a cracked flower pot out front. Nothing special. The kind of place you'd never look at twice. I sat in the car for 10 minutes, maybe 15, just staring at the door. I don't know what I expected. Cassidy to be there? Clay? Some underground secret cult? I was spiraling, and I knew it, but I didn't care. I had to see who answered that door. So I knocked. The woman who opened it didn't look like someone who orchestrated anything. She was wearing slippers and a hoodie with paint stains. Hair up. No makeup. She looked normal. But her eyes changed the second she saw me. "You're Vernon," she said. Not a question. A fact. And that was when I knew. Jenna wasn't a side character. She was part of the architecture. She didn't look shocked to see me. She looked annoyed. Like I had arrived too early to a dinner party she wasn't done setting up. I opened my mouth to speak, but she beat me to it. She didn't want you to find me, she said. You shouldn't be here. I stepped forward, just enough to keep the door from closing. What is she planning? Jenna sighed. Not scared. Not defensive. Just tired. She wasn't going to go through with it. Not anymore. Go through with what? I asked. She hesitated. And then she said something that turned my blood into syrup. She only started documenting things after you stopped noticing her. After your dad died. You shut down. You remember that? She thought you might do something, snap. You started saying weird things in your sleep. She kept notes. Photos. She thought if anything ever happened, she'd need proof. I just stood there, motionless. What are you saying? I asked, voice barely above a whisper. I'm saying, Jenna said, this didn't start with Clay. It started with fear, then resentment, then Clay. You didn't lose her to some guy. You lost her to a version of yourself she didn't trust anymore. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just betrayal. It was a war of perception. She didn't just fall out of love. She prepared a defense. Driving away from Jenna's place, I couldn't decide what felt worse, the possibility that Cassidy had been afraid of me, or the quiet realization that I hadn't really noticed. The guilt hit me in strange ways. Not like a wave, but like a leak. Slow. Corrosive. Was I cold? Distant? Had I really shut down after my dad passed? Probably. But had I ever once threatened her? Even hinted at being dangerous? Never. I wouldn't even raise my voice during arguments. I was the kind of man who apologized to someone who bumped into me. Still, I couldn't get Jenna's words out of my head. She kept notes. Photos. Just in case. It wasn't just betrayal. It was preparation. Insurance. And worst of all, it was all done in secret. That's what broke me. If she really feared me, why not say it? Why not leave then? Why stay? Why cheat? Why manipulate? Why pretend? None of it made sense. Unless, of course, fear wasn't the reason. Control was. Cassidy didn't want out. She wanted to win. And suddenly, something inside me flipped. All that grief and confusion turned into something sharper. Colder. I wasn't going to scream or confront her, or trash her stuff, or do something dramatic. That's what she expected. That's what she was preparing for. And I wasn't giving her the satisfaction of seeing me unravel. No, I was going to haunt her. Not violently. Not illegally. Just psychologically. I started by logging out of every account we'd ever shared. Spotify, Netflix, Hulu. Small things, petty things. But things that left fingerprints. Then I changed the passwords to the cloud storage account where all our photos were. Not deleted. Just locked. Frozen in time. She could scroll through her camera roll and see the thumbnails, but couldn't open a single one. I didn't even need to write a message. The silence would speak for me. Then I went a little deeper. Cassidy had a habit of using the same 3 security questions for everything. I knew all her answers. Her first pet? Sprinkles. Her favorite teacher? Mr. Galloway. Her childhood best friend? Leah. I used those answers to log into an old blog she kept during college. Dead for years. Forgotten, but still linked to her name. I posted a single entry under her profile. It read, "He saw everything. And he's not gone. He's just watching." It took her 3 hours to notice. I know because she texted me at exactly 2:37 p.m. "What is wrong with you?" I didn't reply. At 3:11 p.m, she tried calling. Again at 3:12. Then at 3:14. At 3:29, she messaged, "You're scaring me. Just talk to me." Scaring her? No, I wasn't even close. But for the first time in this whole nightmare, I felt the balance shift. I wasn't chasing the truth anymore. I was becoming it. I wasn't begging for answers. I was the question. I didn't need revenge. I needed clarity. And I was getting closer. Because what Cassidy didn't know was that I hadn't gone back to the cabin. I hadn't even left the city. I was staying just 5 blocks from our house. I knew her schedule. I knew her habits. I knew that she would eventually let her guard down. And when she did, I'd be there. Not to hurt her. Just to make sure she understood. I was never the one she should have feared. Cassidy changed the locks 2 days after I posted the blog entry. I guess she thought that would be enough. A new deadbolt, a fresh code on the keypad, a digital barrier between herself and her past. As if betrayal couldn't climb through windows. As if memories cared about locks. What she didn't know was that I had never needed a key. I still had access to the garage app she forgot to revoke. She hadn't changed the Wi-Fi name or password either. It was all still Sprinkles 2021. Classic Cassidy, detail-obsessed when it came to hiding texts, but lazy with the tech. So the night after she bolted the front door, I slipped in through the side gate, opened the garage from my phone, and stepped into the house like I still belonged there. I wasn't reckless. I wore gloves. I brought nothing with me and left nothing behind, except one thing. A single white rose. I placed it inside a clean glass, no note, and set it right in the center of the kitchen counter. Nothing dramatic. Nothing broken. No drawers rifled through. The house was exactly as she left it, except for the flower. The message wasn't "I'm back." It was "I could have been." That's all. I wanted her to feel what I'd felt. Not pain. Not even fear. Just uncertainty. That quiet, bone-deep unease that seeps into your routines and makes you question what's real. I left before sunrise. She found the flower around 6:40 a.m. I know because I watched her through the garage camera. Her reaction wasn't what I expected. She didn't scream or collapse. She just stood there, frozen, staring at it like it was some kind of ghost. Then she sat down at the kitchen table and stared at the glass like she was waiting for it to move. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Then she picked up her phone and called someone. Not Clay. Someone else. The call lasted 3 minutes. She paced while she spoke, holding the glass rose like it was fragile, like it might explode if she squeezed too hard. After the call, she deleted a bunch of apps off her phone. Instagram, Signal, Telegram, even her banking app. Then she took the rose and dropped it in the trash. But she didn't take it outside. She just left it there, like she was hoping it would rot on its own. That's when I realized something strange. Cassidy wasn't panicking because she thought I'd snap. She was panicking because I hadn't. Because everything I was doing felt too quiet, too calculated. She didn't know what I wanted. She couldn't predict my next move. And Cassidy, she hated not knowing. I waited 3 more days. Let her stew in it. Let her jump at shadows and double-check door locks she'd already checked. Then I did one more thing. I mailed her a photo. Not of me. Not of her. Just an old picture from our honeymoon. The one she used to keep in her wallet. Us on a boat in Maine, laughing at something neither of us remembers now. No return address. No message. Just the picture in an unmarked envelope. She got it around noon on a Thursday. By 1 p.m., she was at the police station. But I'd done nothing illegal. No threats. No stalking. Just a rose and a memory. She could tell them everything. They'd write it down. Nod politely. Ask if she felt unsafe. But without anything concrete, there was nothing they could do. And that was the point. I wasn't trying to hurt her. I was trying to take something back. Control. Power. Clarity. Because she had spent months living a double life, documenting my moods, planning exits with someone else's hands on her waist, and now, for once, she had to sit in the uncertainty, not knowing when the next photo might arrive, or where I might be watching from, or what I still knew. Cassidy filing a police report wasn't surprising. It was a move straight out of her playbook, clean, preemptive, designed to reframe the story before I had a chance to tell mine. That's what this was all about, really. Control. Optics. A performance. She wasn't scared. She was strategizing. She wanted a paper trail to make herself look like the victim in case things escalated. But the thing is, I wasn't escalating. I wasn't threatening. I was just reminding. But if she wanted to bring paperwork into this, I had something better than a report. I had receipts. Literal ones. Not dramatic, not explosive, but damning in the right light. Like the one from that hotel just outside of town, dated 2 weeks before our anniversary. 2 wine glasses. 1 king-size bed. Or the car rental form signed in her name, though I'd never once seen her behind the wheel of that brand. Or the prescription bottle I found months ago in the bathroom drawer, with Clay's last name on it, slid behind her skincare products like it didn't belong. Because it didn't. I compiled everything. Quietly. Patiently. I wasn't looking for a smoking gun. I was collecting patterns. Discrepancies. All the little things she assumed I'd never see, because I was always too trusting, too passive, too tired from holding the marriage together on my own. I met with a lawyer the next morning. Not because I wanted a divorce right away. I wanted leverage. I wanted to make sure that when she looked across the table, she knew the performance was over. The lawyer was direct. Efficient. He didn't ask about love or betrayal. Just assets, income, evidence. I don't want revenge, I told him. I want her cornered. He smiled without humor. Then we build the wall and let her walk into it. That same afternoon, Cassidy posted a picture on Instagram. Her first in weeks. Just a latte on a table, captioned with some cryptic quote about growth and healing. It was bait. I knew it. It was the social media version of a press release. Look how calm I am. Look how centered I've become. But her hands were shaking in the video reflection on the mug. She didn't catch that. I did. I waited 3 more days. Then I sent her a package. Nothing threatening. Just a manila folder filled with black and white copies of the documents I'd collected. No note. No handwriting. Just a typed label on the cover that said, transparency. I had it delivered during one of her yoga sessions. She got home, found it leaning against the door, opened it on the hallway floor. She sat there for over an hour. I watched it all through the neighbor's ring cam. She looked at every page 3 times. No tears. No gasps. Just silence. Like her brain was trying to spin a new story, but the data wouldn't cooperate. She didn't text me that night. Not even the next day. But someone else did. It was Clay. Blocked number. But I knew it was him. Only one person would ever send me a message that simply read, "You need to stop." No name. No context. Just those 4 words. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back. She started this. I'm just finishing it. I never hit send. Because I didn't need to. Cassidy would get the message soon enough. I didn't respond to Clay's message. I didn't need to. The silence had already done its job. The moment Cassidy saw that folder, the game changed. Not because I had destroyed her, not because she was scared, but because she finally understood that I wasn't playing anymore. I had stepped outside the board entirely, and that's what scared her the most. A week passed. Then 2. No texts. No calls. No weird anonymous messages. Just nothing. The air finally felt still again. I started sleeping through the night for the first time in months. I stopped checking the garage camera. I even deleted the synced cloud account, not out of mercy, but because I was done dragging her shadow behind me. Cassidy didn't try to contact me. Not directly. But her sister did. A short, polite message saying Cassidy had moved out of the house, that she wouldn't be contesting anything, that she wanted to make things simple. And just like that, the war ended. No courtroom. No theatrics. No screaming in parking lots or crying voicemails at 2 a.m. Just silence. And that was all I'd ever wanted. I moved back into the house 3 weeks later. Alone. I walked through every room slowly. Not like someone returning home, but like someone meeting it for the first time. I got rid of the furniture she chose. Took down the gallery wall she curated so carefully. Painted the bedroom a shade of green I'd always liked, but she'd always vetoed. Not because I was trying to erase her, but because I needed to find out what the place looked like without her in it. The thing is, I wasn't angry anymore. Not because I forgave her. I didn't. Some things don't deserve forgiveness. But I stopped feeding the part of me that needed her to admit it, to apologize, to collapse under the weight of what she did. I let go without warning. No speech. No closure scene. I just stopped needing anything from her. And something strange happened. I started remembering myself. I remembered that I liked jazz on Sunday mornings and long drives with no destination. I remembered how much I used to write. I even picked up a camera again, something I hadn't touched since before we got married. I started making plans. Small ones at first. A solo weekend in Chicago. A cooking class I signed up for on impulse. Then bigger ones. A road trip. A new job. Life didn't come back all at once. It returned in pieces. But they were my pieces. Cassidy's chapter in my story is over. That's not bitterness. That's just fact. And what's left behind isn't wreckage, it's space. Space I can fill with something better. Something real. Not a fantasy. Not a projection of love. Something built, not borrowed. And maybe someday, if I meet someone new, someone honest, someone soft without being small, I'll tell them about all this. Maybe I won't. Maybe it won't matter. Because now I know who I am, with or without anyone else. I was never the villain in her story. I just finally stopped auditioning for the role of the fool.